Anjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishraya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series. We are discussing the 6 answers of Suta Goswami to the 6 questions of the sages. And up till now, we have seen how Suta Goswami, after offering his obeisances to Sukdev Goswami and to the scripture and the mantra which he is going to speak, that is the Srimad Bhagavatam, thanking the sages, starts answering the questions, especially the first 2 questions of the sages. What is the highest benefit for humanity? And what is the essence of all scriptures? The highest benefit for humanity is to practice bhakti. And the essence of the scriptures is also that bhakti is the essence of the scriptures. So he goes on to define in 1 to 6, Savai Pumsan Parodharma, that the highest goal of humanity is to develop sadhana bhakti by which we can attain prema bhakti. And this sadhana bhakti should be ahetuki and it should be apratiyata. It should be ahetu, apratya, and that only can satisfy the self. Yenatma suprasidati. And this bhakti towards Vasudeva Bhagavati, which is endowed with moods like Dhasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, this Sadhya Bhakti produces Jnana and Vairagya. Jnana and Vairagya immediately, Ashu. And we saw that only when Sadhana Bhakti attains its maturity, when already one is attained Sadhya, then this gives the byproducts like Gyan and Vairagya. And this Gyan is ahetukam. Jnanam yad ahetukam. Now, Sut Goswami goes into another discussion from verses 8 to 13, where he explains that Varnashram is not the Parodharma. So, what is the essence of the scriptures? Parodharma, that is sadhana bhakti, that is Shuddha bhakti. And Varnashram is not Parodharma. By proving what is not, he is proving what it is. I hope you get this point. So, if one is situated in Varnashrama, Dharma Sunishtita Pumsa, and he doesn't use that facility being situated in the Varnashrama, Vishwaksena Katasuya, if he doesn't develop attraction to Katha for Krishna, Notpadiyadi Ratim, if he doesn't develop attraction, Shrama eva kalam, his all duties of Varnashram are Shrama eva kalam. They are useless endeavor. So this is now the series which we have been discussing. And yesterday we began this series. So let us go now first into Prabhupada's purport and then Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's purport on this. Commentary by Prabhupada on 1 to 8. This series has to be very, very clearly understood. There are different occupational duties in terms of man's different conceptions of life. So the occupational duties are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. These are Varna. And Varna is based on Swabhava, which we discussed yesterday, if you remember, Swabhava. So Varna. So, and the conceptions is that not I am a spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, and my duty of the soul is to love and please Krishna by pure devotional service. The conception is I am a Brahmana, I am a Kshatriya, I am a Vaishya. So this is identity based on the Swabhava, identity based on the subtle body and not the soul's identity. So these are the conceptions. So based on that, there are duties. Brahmana, so then the Brahmana duties, Patan Patana. Kshatriya, Kshatriya Dharma. Vaishya, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. So based on this Swabhava, conceptions. To the gross materialist who cannot see anything beyond the gross material body, there is nothing beyond the senses. Therefore, his occupational activities are limited to concentrated and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness centers around the personal body. This is seen generally amongst the lower animals. Extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around family, society, community, nation, and world with a view to gross bodily comfort. So both these this concentrated selfishness and extended selfishness are again springing from the gross and subtle bodies, from the identity of gross and subtle bodies. And more grosser, Prabhupada says, is found in the animals, but even it is there in the human beings, And extended definitely with the conception of, nationhood, philanthropy, all these, are manifested in the human society. Community service, nation service, world service, all this is extended selfishness. Again, it is springing from the subtle body and not from the soul. Above these, gross materialists are the mental speculators who hover aloft in the mental spheres, and their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy or propagating some ism with the same aim of selfishness limited to the body and the mind. So here it is a little at a subtle level, at a higher level. And in their occupational duties, Prabhupada is saying, is philosophy, poetry, and all. But again, it is limited to the extended selfishness. Limited. It is limited to the body and the mind only. Now Prabhupada put forth his argument. But above the body and mind is the dormant spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. But less intelligent people have no information of the needs of the spirit soul. Because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. So, if you also perform your occupational duties meticulously as per dharma, as per the varnashram dharma, still one cannot feel satisfaction, because that satisfaction is again restricted to only either the bodily satisfaction, or at the subtle level, the mind, mental satisfaction, or at a more higher level, there is the intellectual satisfaction. But all are related to the body, gross or subtle, and it is not related to the soul. So that is why you cannot find satisfaction. Satisfaction can be only attained on the spiritual platform, at the soul platform, when it uh, pleases the Supreme Soul in the activities of devotional service. In the activities of devotional service. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein by the sages. Yenatma suprasiddhati. The self is beyond the gross and the subtle mind. He is the potent active principle of the body and the mind, because without the soul, body and the mind are not functioning. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply by emolument of the body and the mind. The body and the mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleaning the cage of the bird, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. Now, Prabhupada, in the next paragraph, what is the need of the soul? Soul, he mentions. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited fear of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the greater universe. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this spirit soul wants to experience the freedom of complete coverings which he is encased in, both here the body as well as the coverings of the soul. He wants to experience that. Everyone is looking for that, and that's why everyone is trying to go higher, higher, higher. From India, people want to go to America. From America, they want to go to moon, and from moon also, you know, there are higher living beings who want to go to higher realms, like the Maharloka. From Maharloka, people want to go to higher realms, Janaloka. From Janaloka, they want to go to Satyaloka, Lord Brahma's planet. And ultimately, the yogis there want to pierce the coverings of this 7 layers or 8 layers, and want to experience the free light and spirit. So this is possible only when they come in touch with the complete spirit, that is Krishna. There is a dormant affection for God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and the mind in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. So there is a perverted affection, sneha, because of bodily attachment to one's own family, then the extended family in the form of, all the family members of my relatives, and then it extends to more affection in the form of, my own community, then my own state, my own nation, and the world itself, because entire world is humanity. I'm also a human being. I should serve the entire humanity. So even this level, this affection which is manifested, it is all springing from the gross and subtle body. That's it. It has nothing to do with the soul. The pure affection of the soul towards the Supreme Soul can only satisfy the self. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. So the occupational engagements have to be done so that we get facility where we get a lot of opportunity to hear sadhu katha. We get to associate with sadhus and we get to hear Krishna katha, so that ultimately we can, invoke the dormant affection of the soul for the Supreme Soul. that is for God. So if we don't do this while engaged in our occupational activities, then it is Shrama Eva hi Kevalam. Now, how this is possible? This is possible only by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord, and any occupational activity which does not help one to achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Godhead is said herein to be simply a waste of time. So, uh, Varnashram, by following the Varnashram, one is living a very pious life. And because one is living a very pious life, he is naturally inclined uh, to hear from sadhus, and he is doing his occupational duties in a dharmic way. So while doing his occupational duties, there is no sin incurred, and his occupational duties take not a toll on the entire energy of his. Whatever is needed for the sustenance of the body, he's doing, and the remaining time he has. And that time has to be utilized in hearing and chanting. And if his occupational duties don't, allow him to develop attachment to hearing and chanting, then all his activities are simply waste of time. Now we can see today the whole Varnashram system uh, is completely, uh, in a pathetic situation because everyone lives in the cities. We are not living in our natural environment just for the maintenance because of the whole modern civilization. And we, as devotees who come in touch with Krishna consciousness, we are having attraction for going to the temple, hearing the sadhus. We want to hear Krishna Katha, but our duties in terms of maintenance of the body, we work. Sometimes people work from early morning. They go to the office 6 o'clock. They have to catch a train, drive 2-3 hours. Then whole day in the office there is work and there is over duty. 8 o'clock they leave, come back night 10 o'clock. Where is the time? They have a desire. They have come in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the process of bhakti, but they have desire to hear Krishna Katha. They have, a little taste, but they don't get the time to hear Krishna Katha. So that's why Srila Prabhupada wanted that devotees live in a setup where they can easily uh, take care of their bodily maintenance, what is required to sustain the body. That means take care of the gross requirements, that is the, you know, uh, house, the maintenance of body in terms of earning in a dharmic way, where there is no sin to be performed in a dharmic way, so that they get a lot of time where they can hear Krishna Katha. Otherwise, uh, if those who are engaged in occupational duties, if they don't develop attachment for hearing Krishna, all their duties are waste. And we as devotees who have come in touch with the process of bhakti which will awaken and give us satisfaction of the soul, if we don't utilize this opportunity, then we are more unfortunate compared to those who are practicing uh, varnashrama. That's the point. This is because other occupational duties, whatever ism they may belong to, cannot give liberation to the soul. So this is the reason. Even the activities of the Salvinist are considered to be useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. Please mark this statement and think about this statement. What is Prabhupada actually saying here? Think about it. Even the activities of the Salvinist are considered to be useless because of their failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. What does this statement mean? Think about it and raise your hands. Anyone? One hand has been raised. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, here Prabhupada is indicating for Gyanis, those who want to merge in Brahman, and they don't
Yes.
know the real source.
Salvinist. The Salvinist is one who are desiring liberation, moksha. Even that is considered useless because ultimately, the fountainhead of all liberties is the liberty of, you know, Panchama Purushartha, that is Krishna Prem. It's like, there are two oceans, and in between is the bank between the two oceans. I'm just giving this example for you to understand. On the right side is the Bhavasagar, where the living entity is being swallowed by sharks in the form of miseries, birth, death, old age, disease, Adhyatmik Klesh, Adi Devik Klesh, Adi Bhautik Klesh, and is swimming in this ocean and completely being devoured by the sharks, the Timingalas, in the form of miseries, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, all these miseries. So he wants to come out of this Bhavasagar, and the Salvinist come out by Mukti. It's like, he comes out and is sitting on the bank. Now he's free from the gross body, he's free from the subtle body, he has attained liberation. But what is the point? He's just sitting there, can't do anything. But on the other side, on the left side, is another ocean, the ocean of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of rasa in relationship to Krishna, where you can have a spiritual body and exchange and dive into this ocean deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And unlimitedly, this ocean keeps on expanding, and our prema keeps on expanding, expanding, and expanding and expanding with no limit. So that is the fountainhead of all liberties, Panchama Purusha. So even that is considered useless. Prabhupada is extending it not only for occupational duties, but for also mukti. The gross materialist can practically see that his material gain is limited only to time and space, either in this world or another. So those who want to, by satisfy the body by doing pious activities based on varnashram to gain something in this world, that is also limited. It will be over with the body finished. And there are some hires who might think of going to Swarga and enjoy there. But also when they attain Swarga, Shine Punya Marte Lokam Vishanti, that is also destroyed. So anything which we gain in this 14 planetary systems is destroyed by the effect of time. Even if one goes up to Swargaloka, he will find no permanent abode for his hankering soul. So the soul cannot be satisfied. No amount of material satisfaction, be gross, subtle, up to the happiness of even Swargaloka, Satyaloka also, cannot give happiness to the soul because the soul is completely spiritual. The soul can be only satisfied uh, with spiritual. Just like the fish, which is out of the water, it cannot be satisfied with AC, BMW, whatever you give. It has to go in its natural environment, that is water. Similarly, the spirit soul has to be in its natural environment, that is the spiritual world, where he is performing his spiritual actions of pure love to the Supreme Spirit. The hankering soul must be satisfied by the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional service. That is pure devotional service. So that's how Prabhupada mentions in his commentary. Very excellent commentary, but we will see Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary, which will throw more light on this. So, any questions or any clarifications up till now? Okay, one question. Yes, Birendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Prabhu, here satisfaction of soul, we can refer to bhakti rasa. I mean, the mellows of devotional service. That is what it is indicating.
Yes, the mellows of Bhakti Rasa, which we start experiencing at the advanced stages. But even in the beginning stages, we have some ruchi. Salpapui ruchi. Ruchi means not the stage of ruchi. We have some taste. And that is also impelling us to practice bhakti, even in our conditioned state. So that is the potency of, bhakti. If this is still sustaining and it is, it is pushing us ahead, then what will be, that state when it is attained at the perfection? What kind of taste? So that is the point.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Yes, Ravikant Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dhamma Pranam.
Yes.
Prabhuji, my question is like those who are doing Ashtanga yoga and all, and they want salvation. So, and they are experiencing also like reaching there, and that is effulgence of the Lord, Supreme Lord. They are reaching there and they are falling down.
No,
And
no, no. No. That's a misunderstanding. See, the jnanis or the yogis who practice the jnana sadhana or the ashtanga sadhana, first of all, they have to be sthita pragya. By doing nishkama karma yoga, they have to attain the stage of self-realization, sthita pragya. They take sannyas, and from there, they have to practice their sadhana and attain siddhi, that is jivan mukta. Once they attain the sadhya, for them is jivan mukta. In this body only they are liberated. If they don't commit offense to the Lord, anadrita yushmadangre, if they don't commit an offense to the Lord, then, when their prarabdha is completely destroyed, they are liberated in this very body. And when the body death happens, then they attain liberation in the Brahma Jyoti or in the body of Mahavishnu. That's why there is Ishwar Sayuj and Brahma Sayuj. Ishwar Sayuj means they enter the body of Mahavishnu and they remain there. And Prabhupada mentioned that it is like, a child who comes out of the mother's womb, he experiences misery in this world and he tells the mother, I want to go back and stay in your womb. I don't want to come out. And Brahma Sayuj is in the Brahma Jyoti. He's like one dazzling light, experiencing bliss in the Brahma Jyoti. So once they attain this liberation, then they don't fall down. But while in the Jivan Mukta stage, if they commit an offense to the lotus feet of the Lord or to Bhakti Devi, then from that Jivan Mukta stage, they fall down. That is the point. You have to clearly understand. Okay. Let's take Vishwanath Chakra Thakur's commentary on this. Very, very important. And have a. Why is dharma in the form of varnashram not considered to be parodharma? This verse answers. So varnashram is not considered parodharma. This verse is answering. That dharma undertaken by men, brahmanas, kshatriyas, vaishyas and shudras, which does not produce attraction for talks about the Supreme Lord, is completely useless. The Shrutis say, Karmana Pitraloke, by performance of Varnashram duties, one goes to Pitraloka in the material world. Performance of Varnashram duties does not produce attraction for the Lord. Just if you keep on performing your Varnashram duties, it is punya, but that will not produce attraction for the Lord because it is based on the sabhava. Only when you perform bhakti activities, then it will produce hearing and chanting about the Lord. This is clear from Narad's statement in the 4th canto. that varnashram duties don't produce attraction for the Lord. That is clear from Narad's statement. What? Kim janma vestriber. वेह शौक्र सवित्र यज्ञ के कर्म वीर वात्रयी प्रोक्ते पिंसो पुंसो भी विविधो विबुद्ध्या युषा. Without that service, what is the use of taking three births? Kim Jamnu is Triber way. So there are three births. One is by Shaukra, by semen, Savitri by Upanayana, and Diksha, Yagna. To perform, Yagyas, you need Diksha. What is the use of ritual acts mentioned in the Vedas? Karma bir va trayi prokte. What is the lifespan of a devta for a human being? Pumso va pi vi bhu dhya yusha. What is the use of a lifespan? There is no use. So, performance of varnashram duties without attraction is completely useless. And this also Narad Muni is saying in the fourth canto. Kim va yogena sankena nyasa swadhyayoraphi kim va shayobhiranyescha na yatratma pradho hari. What is the use of yoga? Kim va yogena? Sankhena, sannyas, nyas, study of the Vedas, swadhyayorapi. Other auspicious acts, kim va shayobhiranyescha, in which the Lord does not give realization of himself. Na yatratma pradho hari. So yen atma suprasiditi, if it doesn't happen, if it doesn't touch the soul, and the soul is touched by activities of bhakti only, otherwise all these philanthropic activities or gyan yoga, because all these processes are within the three modes. Even ashtanga yoga, gyan yoga, they are sattva, and that is again part of the material gunas. Only bhakti is the Swarupa Shakti of the Lord. It is completely transcendental and spiritual, and the soul is completely spiritual. Only that can satisfy the soul. Because it does not produce attraction for topics about the Lord, it is merely useless endeavor. Prabhupada also makes that point. Because of the temporary nature of the results of performing varnashram duties, such as attainment of Pitraloka, one should give up those duties, Swadharma, and perform the Parodharma mentioned in the previous verse, consisting of hearing and chanting about the Lord. However, it is also said, Asmin loke vartamana swadharmasto anagasuchi jnanam vishuddhamapnoti madbhaktim cha yadrichaka. So here you have to understand that one can simultaneously perform swadharma and get attracted to parodharma, and then one who has developed sufficient attraction and taste for parodharma, he is completely disgusted with this sarmadharma, then he can give up this swadharma and take up completely to parodharma. For that also he has to purify his subtle body, because as long as his subtle body is not purified, he will be still attracted to do swadharma. And so simultaneously one has to do this, hearing and chanting, perform his varnashram duties. And then when his performance of varnashram duties he is doing in a detached way, and he has purified his swabhava, then what can happen? Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear me? Is it audible or no? Yes, Devhuti Kapil Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you. All clear.
Oh, okay. Somebody sent me a message that. Okay,
No,
fine.
we are all good. We are with you.
Yeah, okay, fine. So one has to simultaneously perform these, and once one is purified of the Sabha, there is no impressions in the subtle body, there are no desires in the subtle body, then he's on the transcendental position, and then he can only perform Paramadharma. Till then, the balance between both is required. So, in the form of doing this. Otherwise, if he's only doing his Swadharma and not utilizing that opportunity where he's situated in his Swadharma to hear and chant and develop attraction, then all his performance of Swadharma is useless. So, here the results of Swadharma are temporary. And one should give up those duties and perform Paramadharma. But when one should give up that duties, I mentioned that. So this verse is mentioning Asmil loke vartamana swadharmosto anaga suchi yanam vishuddham apnoti mad bhaktim cha yadrichaya. One who is situated in his prescribed duty, Asmin loka vartamana swadharmosto, is situated in his varnashram duties, prescribed duties, free from sinful activities, anaga, and is cleansed of all material contamination, suchi, in this very life obtains transcendental knowledge, jnanam vishuddham apnoti, by fortune, yadrichaya, devotional service unto me, mad bhaktim. So here you have to very clearly understand this verse. Let us see. The Lord himself says that karma is the cause of bhakti. You do your karma, swadharma, get purified, become anaga, suchi, for the contamination. Then karma will produce what? Jnanam vishuddham apnoti and mad bhaktim by fortune. So here the point what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is making is that by performance of Saradharma, you automatically attain what? When you're purified, you attain bhakti. So karma becomes the cause of bhakti. How can you say that bhakti is without cause? Because Vishwanath Chakra Thakur had proved that bhakti is without any cause. Bhakti only causes bhakti. But here we can see this verse is saying karma is the cause of bhakti. This verse. That is true. It can be explained that in that statement that karma gives rise to jnana but does not directly produce bhakti. So here, when one is purified by swadharma, then one gets jnana. And this is the flow in the Bhagavad Gita also. That is understood by the word, use of the word yadrichaya by itself in the verse. Pure bhakti is independent, yadrichaya, indifferent to other processes. So if one is performing his swadharma and is getting purified, then bhakti being yadrichaya, bhakti manifests on its own. It is independent. It can manifest in the heart of somebody. It cannot manifest. It is dependent on bhakti itself. And the association of such a pure devotee who has pure bhakti, he might come on his own and give such a person by his sangha bhakti and bestow mercy. Now, what was the qualification of the Westerners, the hippies, who were drug addicts, alcoholics, doing all sorts of nonsense activities? They were not having any, they were not performing any swadharma, and they were, not purified also, but they got bhakti just because Prabhupada, a Mahabhagavat, went there on his own, by his own will and desire. Of course, he followed the desire of his spiritual master, that is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and that was the desire of the Lord. So that is yadrichaya. So bhakti is yadrichaya. If by good fortune it happens to appear in a person, then he attains attraction for the Lord topics. So the devotee association is yadrichaya. He automatically decides, I will give association. He is completely independent to do that. The meaning of yadrichaya is by itself. By explaining the verse in another way, the self-manifesting nature of bhakti would be lost. Therefore, such meanings are rejected. Thus, even nishkama karma is not the cause of bhakti. That is said in the present verse. Nishkama karma is not the cause of bhakti. That is being said in this present verse. Text 8. Parodharma is understood from verse 1 to 6. Savai punsam parodharma. All dharmas other than that undertaken as one's duties, swanishtita, even if they are nishkam and which do not produce affection, ratim, for topics about the Lord, are only useless labor. The word yadi here indicates disgust generated from the wasted labor. No utpad yadi. If it doesn't utpad means it generates yadi, then shravami vari kimalam. Then the definition of yadi indicates disgust or doubt. Or yadi can be used to express doubt where no doubt exists, as in the example, yadi veda pramanam, if the Vedas are proof. Or in the sentence, datte padam tvam avita yadi vigna murdini. You, the protector, place your foot on the head of obstacles. Yadi expresses certainty. So yadi, different meanings, Vishwanath Chakravarti. This is how Sridhar Swami explains yadi. Another meaning is as follows. It is said that from this varnashram, sometimes attraction for the topics of the Lord does arise. That is true, because one cannot attain the results of dharma without such affection for the Lord's topic. That affection is present, but that is an appearance only, not genuine. It is not a genuine affection. If activities of varnashram, whether kamya, fulfilling personal desires, or nitya, daily, does not produce affection for the Lord's topic, they are a wasted labor, for no material results will come. For farmers, agriculture must generate affection for the king, otherwise they cannot attain its results. Intelligent people, seeing that there will be no results without attraction for those topics, perform dharma that produces affection for the topics of the Lord. So here what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur is saying, please try to understand. Like farmers are doing agriculture, by which, because all land belongs to the king and the king has allotted. That's why the king collects taxes. So that should, generate affection for the king. It must generate. Similarly, this varnashram duties, uh, performed, they are pious. So that's why they go and hear, sadhus. They are inclined to respect sadhus and hear from the sadhus. So all that is not genuine affection. That is the point which Vishwanath Chakravarti. The real genuine affection is when we get association of pure sadhu and get genuine attraction for Krishna Katha. Intelligent people, seeing that there will be no results without attraction for those topics, perform dharma that produces affection for the Lord. So, because these people are situated in the varnashram and they see that others are also doing these pure devotional activities, they are not having attraction for pure devotional activities. They go there and do some seva. And slowly, because of that, they will get attraction. If the foolish perform the duties without producing affection for the topics of the Lord, they labor for nothing. Just as it is a wasted labor if one cannot attain the results of farming because of lack of loyalty to the king, it is a wasted labor if one cannot get the results of Swarga and knowledge because of the lack of devotion to the Lord. And this he substantiates by this point. Naishkarme apichut achuta bhava varjitam na shobhate jnanamalam niranjanam uta punah shashvada badram ishwar nacharpita karma yad akaranam. Even if you have self-realization, jnanam, naishkarmyam, you attend naishkarmyam, but it doesn't look well if you don't have Achyuta Bhava Varjitam. Then what to speak, Kutapuna, of fruitive activities, karma, which are painful from the beginning and transient, temporary, if they are not offered to the Lord, devotional service. Ishwaram na charpitam. Just as affection for the king arises only because of attachment to agriculture, so attraction to topics of the Lord arises only because of attachment to Varnashram Dharma and its material results. Therefore, that attachment to the topics of the Lord is not genuine. So these people who follow the Varnashram, because they are living in that atmosphere and they are pious by nature, they do activities. They show that, oh, I have to go and hear sadhus. Otherwise, what will others think? So just as a formality, just to keep others happy, they go and hear. But they are actually attached to their Varnashram duties. They are actually attached to their Varnashram duties and their goals to attain Swarga or whatever it is. So that's why that attachment to Krishna Katha is not genuine. Prahlad Maharaj has expressed a pure relationship. Aham tva akamas, tvad bhaktas, tvam cha swami anaprayasha nanyatya haveyor artha raja sevakaryo. I am your servant, aham tad bhaktas, not desiring benefits, akama. And you are my master, tvam tu swami, without dependence on service. Tvam cha sevya. Our relation should not be anything else, like that of the king and the servant. The servant has some motive to serve the king because he wants all his agriculture produce. The king also has certain motive, but the relationship between the Lord and that living being is completely out of pure love. There is no motive behind it. There is no hetu behind it. That is pure bhakti. That is Shuddha bhakti. So that's what Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions in his purport. This purport and the other purports we have to carefully understand, and then things will become more clear. Okay, so I'll stop here, and we will wind up today a little early because I have some other engagement. And if you have any questions, you can post it in the group and I will answer it in the group. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.